Hi, I'm Tim. Welcome to our channel and thanks for logging on. Today we're discussing the IWC Portugieser Tourbillon F.A. Jones limited edition of 50. You can see this reference 5447-04 and purchase it in platinum on our website. Subscribe to our YouTube channel if you enjoy these videos, and please click on the card in the upper right hand corner of the screen at any time during this video to see our full sales listing for this watch with additional accessories included in the sale, high resolution images for your desktop, and naturally complete pricing details for this IWC Portugieser Tourbillon F.A. Jones limited edition of 50 pieces in platinum. Now, the watch on my wrist is part of a relatively short-lived series of Portugieser tourbillon models built between 2010 and 2012. The reference you see here, the -04 of the 5447 generation, was only made in 50 pieces with this exquisite combination of white metal platinum case and striking black dial with classic foy hands, Arabic numerals, railroad track minutes, and silver sub-seconds. On top of all of that, it's a manual wind 54-hour power reserve with a flying tourbillon, and it has a voice of its own such that even in this position, behind the camera, a good arm's length away from the watch, I can actually hear the escapement. Now, on my wrist, 6 1/3 inches, 16 centimeters in circumference, you can see that this mountain of metal is quite large in the tradition of the Portuguese, 43 millimeters across the round of the case, not including the crown. The watch is relatively slim, however, 11 millimeters thick with a generously sloped concave bezel to visually pair the mass. The timepiece is large but not oversized from lug to lug, though 43 millimeter cases are oversized for dress watches. The lug to lug measurement is only 50 millimeters, so you could actually wear this watch with comfort, security, and a handsome proportion on wrist to small, in my estimation, as 14.5 centimeters in circumference, and that is quite compact for a 43 millimeter watch. A lot of the reason comes down to the short span of the lugs and the fact that they are dramatically curved. You can see how they turn almost 90 degrees from the horizontal sweep of the case band to the termination at which they are jutting almost completely down relative to the horizontal sweep of the watch. So this watch tends to drape itself around the wrist rather than flare out stridently. You can also see that the watch has no constraint in the movement of its strap. It has a classic straight bar with plenty of gap between the case to allow for unimpeded motion. It's not a particularly thick strap with a little bit of bolstering down the center. It is a matte black, medium rectangular scale alligator leather with a monotone stitch and a folded edge on the underside, a supple calfskin. This watch features a full platinum clasp. It's beautifully finished with a media-blasted center channel, polished in every other respect except for the buckle itself, which features a lovely satin directional grain. Now, because the clasp is physically massive, that is, it's very heavy, it counterweights the watch nicely. With a very heavy watch head, especially an oversized watch in platinum, you want some sort of bracelet or a massive clasp to counterweight it on the wrist so it doesn't try to tip over or capsize. So that heavy clasp acts as the keel to a sailboat would, keeping everything upright with minimal movement on the wrist. The case band is beautiful. It's simple, but it's punchy, with a satin finish that runs the length from lug to lug, a contrast between the junction with the case back and the bezel in high polish, and then you can see how the lug hoods themselves are polished while the flanks are satin finished. There's even a satin finish between the lugs, not the horizontal grain of the flanks, but a vertical grain, again, just to break up the metal and create a little diversity of finish and visual interest. But if you hold it flush to the camera like so, you can see that in the grand tradition of the Portuguese, the watch is effectively all dial, with the lugs melting away and the bezel pared down almost like a silver halo around the black base. Now, the black base is a matte black to reduce glare. What you see that looks like a applied white gold index or Arabic numeral is in fact just that. The hands at center, also high polished white gold, railroad track white on black print outboard in the classic fashion. You can see F.A. Jones, the American founder of IWC Schaffhausen, with his signature just beneath the minute hand as it's starting to eclipse the imprimatur of the originator. And you'll note the flying tourbillon, no cage on the top. So you have a open tourbillon on the top with a large bridge, a batwing style bridge across the back. It actually pivots on bearings. Unusual, but beautiful because it allows the tourbillon cage to be laid bare. There is no cage or bridge atop it to impede your view of the escapement. So the escape wheel, the anchor, the balance, the hairspring, all self-propelled and rotating with respect to gravity. So now, of course, this originally being a wristwatch implementation of a pocket watch idea, it's more beautiful than chronometrically precise until the watch is adjusted in 5 positions, which this one is, uniting the beauty of the pocket watch-derived tourbillon with the precision one expects of an haute de gamme dress watch in the modern era. Now, it is beautifully executed. The edge of the tourbillon cage on every side is beautifully mirror finished. It does have that gorgeous, glorious, gleaming anglage that you expect on the highest of high horology movements. The cage is entirely hand finished. The movement itself is a combination of mechanical and hand finish. Now, it's a manually wound 54-hour power reserve. As you can see, this is a true pocket watch caliber. The base is the IWC 98,000. This is the caliber 98-900, and you'll note a crown wheel and a ratchet wheel, a large click and click spring. Also, note a conventional center wheel train, center wheel, third wheel, fourth wheel. And then you have actually an additional wheel because it's driving a tourbillon. So we have a center wheel, third wheel, fourth wheel, fifth wheel, and then we have the tourbillon cage itself. Also note all screw heads are black polished. That is one element that is executed at the absolute highest level with a very sensitive and thoughtful ripple-style Côte de Genève laid down across the bridges. You'll note the origination of the ripple pattern just below the tourbillon cage, really the IWC Proboscifusia crest, and then they radiate out, expanding in diameter. You'll also note that the spacing of them is much tighter across the batwing style bridge. Now, the watch does beat away at 28,800 vibrations per hour, so it is a modern beat rate. You can hear this one, and once again, it is a very pronounced sound that you can hear easily on the wrist. Not annoying so much as it's endearing and intriguing. This is a watch that's striking on both sides, but the simple romance of the tourbillon visual on the front side, you never really need to take it off the wrist to get the most out of it in finish and function. A spectacular watch and one of only 50 made. This is a true connoisseur's piece from the ranks of IWC's classical Portuguese line, the longest continuously produced thread of IWC watchmaking. Yep, even the Big Pilot had a little bit of discontinuity between its Luftwaffe origins and its 2002 resurfacing, and the Mark series didn't come about until the mid to late 1940s, so more or less an unbroken tradition, if occasionally infrequent. Since the 1930s, the IWC Portuguese is the icon of the manufacturer, and this is the apex of the icon's mountain. This is for the collector who truly has it all, or at least wants it all. The best Schaffhausen can muster. See it and own it on our website.